Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned to the Virtuous Woman Show. Like I said, my name is Sheila Juma and I am on set with Edwina. Did I say it right?
Yes.
Edwina Juma. So we are both Jumas over
Yes.
here. And we've been talking about babies with babies. This is basically to say teen pregnancies. And so before the show, we talked about the stats on where we are at, especially from 2020 when we had the lockdown. And we've heard from Edwina that there have been thousands and thousands of teenage pregnancies and they've been on the rise. And some of the causes we said were, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. When people stayed at home and there was nothing much to do, and there was all this access to social media, and also we talked about the lack of sexual education or sex education. And so we're going to continue this conversation with Edwina, so stay put. I am having a good time, I'm sure you are as well. Karibu sana once again.
Thank you.
So let's continue with this conversation, and I want you to help me understand what are the potential risks with teenage pregnancies, because again, these are bodies that are not meant to be having children at that point. So what are the risks?
First, of course, we have the medical risks. Okay, you have kids who develop complications from giving birth too early because their bodies are not fully developed, so which could easily lead to their deaths.
Yeah.
Secondly, we have kids who will attempt to have abortions because they're feeling like they're not ready, they'll be stigmatized, they're feeling, they have a fear because what's going to happen to them, they'll try to end abort, which will lead to further medical complications or even death as well. We have kids who will be born now, the kids who will be born will be maybe preterm babies because then the bodies that are carrying these babies are not ready. So the kids might have to be ejected out early, if we could say so. Yeah, so we have preterm babies, and we have things like mental issues, mental health, depression, drug and substance abuse, alcohol, because they don't know how to now cope with these things which are happening to them. We also have poverty levels in society because if I'm a child and my mother is selling mama mboga and I'm taking another child to them, so that's another burden on them. So we'll never leave that situation. So we have so many issues which arise from these teenage pregnancies. We also have stigma, and kids will be bullied in school, they'll be bullied in society. Mzazi akikuona na mtoto wake, huyu ako na mtoto anavuka barabara, nakwambia nisikuone na mtoto wa fulani, you see, because they have a baby. They'll be like, huyu anafanya tabia mbaya, you see, don't walk with them. So we have stigma in society. There are so many issues which these kids will face, and not just the kids, because when you have an issue with a child, it not only affects the child, it will affect the family, it will affect the society. Like, it's just kind of blows up the whole thing. So there's so many things which could happen.
As a parent, I can imagine your child has come and told you they're pregnant, or they got someone pregnant.
Yes.
What should be your response? Because of course you're disappointed. We don't deny that.
Yes.
But what is the appropriate response? Because there are very many people who are chased away at, let's say, even 13. What's the appropriate response for a parent?
I think the first thing your parents should do is communicate to you that haujafukuzwa kwenu, you can always come back home. Okay, like my parents, I know whatever happens, I can always go back home. Home is my safe space, and as much as my parents will be disappointed in me, they'll have my back, you see, because once I feel like I'm going to be chased away from home, I'm going to be like cast away, like I'll be like a plague to that family, I'll try and abort. I won't even tell my parents because already, first of all, I know I can't go back to my parents. So the first thing our parents should do is try to ensure that your kids know that they feel safe with you. Like, whatever happens, if I'm a boy and I've gotten a girl pregnant, I can tell my parents, because yes, they'll watanigombeza, of course, because that's expected. But at the end of the day, as much as I want to make them proud, I have made a mistake, something has happened, and I can't take it back, because a pregnancy is not something you can undo. You can't pause and undo. It has to move forward. So parents have to ensure that they create a safe haven for their kids, so that in the first place, if you create a safe haven for your kids, they will already have talked to you about sex education. They will already know what to do in an eventuality, what not to do. So you're already reducing the teenage pregnancy risk. But then if it's already happened, ensure that your kid knows they are safe with you.
They're coming to you, and you're the safest place they can go to.
Yes,
apart
because
from God, of course.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Because you're the physical,
Yes.
you're the physical manifestation of
Yes.
the godly
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
So
True.
they have to come to you,
Yeah.
because if they go anywhere else, they'll get bad influence.
Yeah.
They'll be told, go and abort, you know, or just run away. And then what happens? Where do you run away to? You're a street child now,
Yeah.
because you're already a child. You don't have a job.
Yeah.
You don't have education. Where do you go? So try to make your home a safe space for
And
your
this
child.
is not just with pregnancies. Kids,
Yes.
kids make mistakes sometimes, not as grave as pregnancies or as big as pregnancies, but if you are a parent who has made your home, or you've made yourself a safe space for your child, they're able to come to you for anything.
Yes,
and
like,
that's important.
Yes, like for example, if your kid has gone out with their friends and they have found themselves in a vulnerable situation, you see, maybe they had not told you they're going out to party. Maybe they had told you, menda tu kwa nani, but then they have found themselves, they've gone out to party, but then they have found themselves in a vulnerable situation. Somebody's trying to take advantage of them, or it's a risky situation, they're in a risky neighborhood. Will they be afraid to call you?
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Do you want your kid to die out there because they were afraid of calling you to come and pick them from wherever they are? You see?
Yeah.
So try to make your kid feel safe with you. You'll know that, of course, I will be disappointed in you.
There'll
By the
be
end of the
disciplinary
day,
measures as well.
yes.
But
at the end
call
of
me.
the day, call me.
Yeah.
Kesi baadaye.
Kesi baadaye,
Kesi
nipige
baadaye.
kwanza to make sure
Yes.
you're okay. I like that. Are there any support systems in place or resources for children who are in such a situation?
In schools, first of all, we have guidance and counseling
Yeah.
sessions. So you can approach your teachers, you can approach your elders in the society, like your chiefs. They will always help you. You can approach organizations like FAWE and many of the organizations which can help you. We have rescue centers in Kenya, but as a young girl, as a young boy, you don't know about these organizations, you don't know about the chiefs, you don't know about the first person. You should be just go to your teacher.
Yeah.
You see, just go to your teacher and tell them about your situation, because your teacher is the one you're with every day, you see, and you can always access your teachers. If you go to school, even if they're not in school, you can always get their numbers from the school. So just approach your teachers, because your teachers are there for your sake. We're in school for the kids' sake.
Yeah.
We're not, if there were no kids, we'd not be in school.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so always approach your teachers, because they'll always guide you. They might not tell you like, now this is what you do right now, but they will guide you on what to do, okay? And if your parent is approachable, also approach them. But if you can't approach your parent, approach your teacher, because your teacher can speak to your parents and then can make the situation
Lighter.
better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does peer pressure have any influence when it comes to teenage pregnancies?
Yes.
Yes.
It's kind of indirect, not directly, because if I see my friend pregnant, I won't go and get pregnant, of course. But if I'm finding out that my friends are having sex out there, and I want to be like my friends, you see, my friends are experiencing some stuff which I'm not experiencing. So I want to be like my friends. I want to know what they're feeling. What is this thing they're enjoying that I'm not enjoying?
And also it makes me uncool.
Yes. If they're on social media, what is this they're watching on Facebook? What is it they're watching on YouTube, on Instagram? Who are they following on Twitter?
Yeah.
You see, so I want to be like my friends. I want to be in the same circles. Whenever they discuss a show, I want to have watched it. You see, so when they perform when they do things, I want to do things like them.
Yeah.
Okay, and we all, of course, we have positive and negative peer influence. But if we have negative peer influence, which now is our case here, which will lead to teenage pregnancy, because we lack education. As kids, they lack education. So once they lack education, they just want to experience the sex part or the good part or the enjoyment part, but they don't know the repercussions. They don't know that this is a lifelong thing which will affect you in a lifetime, because pregnancy is with you for life. Okay, so so peer pressure, peer influence leads kids to do things to fit in, to belong, to become like, this is our circle, like our others. Because in literature we have what we call the othering, where it's like you feel like they are the others, and then yes. So we don't want to be the others. You see, we want to belong.
Part of the group.
Yes, part of the clique. So if they are drinking,
I want to drink.
I want to drink.
Yeah.
If they're having sex, I'll go and have sex. If they're having boyfriends and girlfriends, I'll want to be in the same situation. So, and without proper knowledge and understanding our bodies and what are the works with our bodies and what will happen, the kids end up having pregnancies which is unplanned for. Yeah.
It's so sad imagining that you've had sex because of peer pressure, and you're the only one pregnant.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the kind of mental strain that is going to be in that girl or boy's mind? Yeah. My goodness. Maybe this is a bit not even in our questions, but maybe you can let us know if you can. When a girl goes and gets pregnant by peer pressure, of course it's not a good thing. So is there a way for a child to stand against peer pressure? Is there like a foundation that parents should be instilling in their children so that these things do not happen when it comes to peer pressure? They're not, there's a statement parents like to make. So Sasa, when your friend wants to jump off a bridge, you'll also jump off a bridge. Like how can a child withstand peer pressure?
I think most of these peer influence stems from self-esteem.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because once I know myself, I understand myself, I know what I want. My parents have told me this is your path, this is what we want for you, and I understand that path. They have taught, my church has told me what God wants for me. Yeah. You see, once I understand myself, once I understand what God wants for me, once I have the confidence to say that this is what I want, I won't be easily swayed. True. Because influence is just how easily are you swayed by your friends, by your classmates, by your colleagues, okay? So once you have self-esteem and confidence in yourself, because of course, I can have a bit of wine when I'm 21, when I'm 22 with my supper, you see. But once I'm 16 and I'm going out partying, why am I doing that at that age? Okay, so it can come from self-esteem. If you don't have enough confidence to stand up for yourself, if you don't know what you want, okay? So as parents, as teachers, as guardians, as the church, build your child. Let your child understand themselves, okay? Let your child know what they want. What do you want for your child? And once it should also come from the child, because if I tell you, I want you to become a doctor, there are people who've grown up, become doctors, and then gone back to do what they wanted to do. So if you understand your child wants to do music or wants to become a lawyer, but you want them to become a doctor, don't fulfill your dreams on your children, okay? Try to let your child lead their own path. That way, they're able to stand for themselves and say, this is what I want. This is what I wanted from when I was young, and this is what I want to do. Like, for example, myself, I always said, I will do anything as long as it does something with languages, you see. So whether it was being a teacher, a journalist, whatever it was, as long as it was with languages, I wanted to do it. So my parents let me, you see, but because I was not restricted. Because if you restrict your child, they will become...
So building their self-esteem.
Yes, build your child, just uplift your child.
Okay, that's a really good answer to this question. Lastly, I just want you to talk a little bit about Tuseme Club and the impact that it has on students. Okay.
So Tuseme Club was introduced by FAWE to schools. They're in 2 schools in Nakuru. And they work with the young boys and girls, because the idea of teenage pregnancy is not just with the girls. It's a collaborative effort from the boys and the girls, because without the boys, we would not have the girls getting pregnant. So we have to teach them both to work together. So we have the clubs are in schools, in 2 schools in Nakuru, and they work with these young kids to empower them, to give them knowledge, to also give girls like things like sanitary towels and panties in order to support themselves, because sometimes girls can be easily swayed and told, let me buy you a panty or let me buy you a pad so that you can give me this because you don't have, you see. So we try to avoid getting these girls into risky situations, okay? So these Tuseme Club, the girls and the boys in the club, they take part in art, in music, so they use theatre performance to express themselves.
Okay.
So they look at the issues they have in society and whatever issues they're facing, and they try to express themselves. We also have peer guidance, peer counseling, where they talk to each other if they have issues. So it's helping the girls and the boys in the society, in the school and in the society at large.
That's a really good initiative. Wow, that's amazing. Our time is very much spent, but I want you to very briefly give us your parting shot. Just look at the camera and speak your heart out.
Okay, so I'd like to say thank you, and I'd like to tell the boys and the girls out there to really think about your futures and what you want, because you do not want to be skipping steps. You want to follow step by step. If it's school, finish school. Everything, it will always come. There is no step which God will skip for you. If it's a step you are meant to go through, you will get to it. Yes.
Amen. Thank you so much, Edwina. That
Thank
was
you.
so informative. Thank you for sharing with us your wisdom and your time.
Thank you for
We hope
having
to have
me.
you another time,
Yes,
God
please.
willing. Thank you for staying tuned. This was the Virtuous Woman Show. I hope you had a great time as I have. I'll see you same time, same place next time. Have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Okay.